Today, class, we're going to get a little bit nerdy. I'm going to show you something that I do when I travel, and it saves you a whole bunch of time and possibly a whole bunch of drama. Let's dive straight in. When I travel, in this particular case, I am carrying my Osmo Pocket 3 and my Osmo Action 5. Maybe I'll add my iPhone into the mix, but I really don't like shooting on my phone much anymore. And I know that's crazy because I'm always telling you shoot with your phone. If you have something else, I feel like the phone can get distracting when it comes to like shooting. So I try to shoot off on these little cameras now because they're really, really dope and they're really easy to carry. Long story short, whenever I'm traveling that day, I like to take any footage that I shot that particular day and get it off of the camera and onto the computer and two external SSDs as soon as possible. So that way I don't lose anything. Now, you don't have to have two SSDs. One will suffice. I believe in having two copies just in case one of the SSDs is lost. So one goes in check-in, one goes into the carry-on. You don't have to be that crazy. But let me show you sort of what I'm talking about. So this trip, again, I brought the Osmo Action 5 and the Osmo Pocket 3. So I have these folders in here, and you'll notice the third folder says Osmo Action 5 Audio, Osmo Action 5 Full Resolution, and Osmo Action 5 Low Resolution because it can produce those LRF files. Those are low resolution files. I also have the same thing for the Osmo Pocket 3, the full res and the low res. And again, if I decide to add my iPhone to the mix or some other camera, that will get added to this list. Now, if you are my friends that do Final Cut projects or people that edit in general, they tend to do these type of project folders before you start a big project to editing so that you can store in your A roll, your B roll, your sound effects, your graphics, things that you pull down from say Epidemic or Artlist. People set that stuff all up in ahead of time before they start the project because it just makes it easier to find your stuff. And well, this is easy, but if every time I start a project, I have to create 9 folders, that just gets a little old. So what some people do, like my buddy Matthew and Brad West, they got videos where they show you how to make this template, and you basically copy that folder template to a new project area, you rename it, and you go on and you start renaming the files. I want to make the process even simpler, and I'm a big old nerd. Let me show you what I did. So first I thought about, let's make this using Automator. And with Automator, it's actually not super difficult, but it basically says, ask for text, ask for the project name, and we're going to name this variable new folder. And then we're going to say we're going to set the value of those variables to new folder name. And then we're going to ask the Finder where we want to put this stuff. And that here is on the desktop. And then we're going to say, okay, so pass that variable through the Finder on the desktop and fill in the values of new folder name. So then I run a shell script that basically creates these names, holds them in a spot here, and then pass them through the make dir command. So that means make directory is just a terminal command that makes directories, aka makes folders. It's a super simple Automator script, but it's not the easiest to teach muggles how to do this. Sorry, not calling your name, but unless you're a nerd, that's a pain in the butt. So I'm like, I want to make it easier, not harder. Let's go ask ChatGPT. So I pop over here to ChatGPT and I said to ChatGPT, I was like, yo, dog, explain to me this shell script in easy to understand language that can make this teachable to beginners. And so I pasted in my shell script part because the rest of it is automatic. It can figure it out. And it went down this whole little list and it explained it all to me and told me how we're going to do this in the whole 9 yards. And I was like, this is cool, but I want to make this into a Mac program that would make it easy for anybody to use. So ChatGPT then says, okay, cool. We're going to make this easy to use by saving a scaffolding file. There's just going to be a text file that has all of the names in it. Then we're going to run an AppleScript, which will basically do the same thing as the shell script. It's just a slightly different language. But guess what? You don't have to know how to code because ChatGPT will do all the coding for you. Okay, let's get back in. So in ChatGPT, it gave me a sample of what the folder structure should look like. So based off my original settings, this is the folder structure. So you go to text edit, which I'll bring up over here. And text edit says to paste in that list. So here's that list exactly how I had it. I added a couple extra things just to show you, but I'm going to leave this here. Should be perfect. And then we're just going to go to the top and save this list. Now, one other thing that's important is when you create this in text edit, it must be in plain text format, not the RTF format. Normally, text edit will take the plain text and make it for you, but you just want to make absolutely sure that it's in plain text format before you do anything else, and you'll be good to go. Other text editors that will absolutely spit out plain text format are like script editors and things like that, but just make sure it's pure text. You could even paste it into ChatGPT and say, double check that this is plain text and not rich text. That's just the one step that's important. Okay, so going back to ChatGPT, it generated this AppleScript and it breaks it down. And when you see these little dash and gray lines here, that's explaining you what's going on, but it's basically generated an AppleScript, which you would just copy from here, copy this, and you're going to bring it over to Script Editor, which lives in your Utilities folder on your Mac. But in Script Editor, it basically, you paste it in. This is what it looks like. The one thing that I had to change in here is where it said your username. I did change it to say Doc Rock because my name is not your username. So right here, it will say your username instead of Doc Rock, but I changed that. And let's just show you where it is on ChatGPT. So that way it's less confusing. But right here at the top, it says your username, users/your username, because this is where the user, I told it wanted to be teachable. I wanted to be passable to you guys. So this is where chat is going to show you how to do that. That's the only thing you need to change. We're going to bounce over to Finder real quick and show you how this project works. Let me go to Finder and let me close this window real quick. So I'm just going to click on this Finder application. It's going to ask me to choose this. I'm going to say LGL demo. And then it's going to ask me where I want to put this. And I'll just save this to the desktop. And it says your folders are successfully created. If I open up that set of folders, there you go. There you have the full set of folders, just like we wanted to create. And now, rather than every time I want to do this, do I have to sit here and make a bunch of folders? I can just double click on the little AppleScript icon and it'll make all the folders for me. So it is save time. Again, it's a little complicated, but it's not. It's actually super simple. And you only need ChatGPT and the text editor. Now, some other ways you could do this, if you're more familiar, you could make this a shell script, as I did in the first place. You can make this a Python script. Both of those will require you to go in the terminal to run them, but they still super easy stuff. Not a lot of work to do, but it's much better than making a folder template that you copy and paste it, because if you mess up your template once, then you're screwed. There's no way to get it back. So if nothing else, you could run this once and then save that template and then just, move the template whenever you need it. Just run it again. You'll get a clean copy. But super easy to do. I hope that was understandable. Let me know if it didn't make any sense to you whatsoever. I'll see if I can find an easier way. But I just thought it was cool that I could take an idea and throw it at ChatGPT and have it work itself out for me. And again, I'm an old school AppleScripter, old school Automator. And I might even see if there's a way to figure out how to do this in shortcuts, because that'll make it even easier. But I don't know who needs to see this video. If it was you, let me know in the comment section below. If that's way too nerdy, be like, slow down, pimp, and then we won't do that again. Right about now, the algorithm is going to show you a video they think you should watch. I agree.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where. I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George. I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse. I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throws.